Gain is really trying to capture the knowledge, skills and attributes that students gain from their time in higher education. One of the reasons employers like to hire graduates is that part of completing their degree signals that students not only have this subject-specific knowledge, but also the broader practical skills of what it takes to complete a degree. It covers every range, from individual students engaging with their data in their own learning, up to teachers and course teams working on aspects of pedagogy and curriculum design, to senior managers wanting to run institutions, all the way up to policymakers and regulators trying to hold the system to account and ensure this fundamental question of value for money for students. Well, I think we've had a lot of inputs on the teaching side, but I think the question now is, what are we getting out from all those teachers? So we know, for example, students are really interested in contact hours. If you talk to them, that's what they often want. But when we look at what the research says, it's not the contact hours, it's the time on task. It's the time that students spend, which then takes you more to a question of what are students learning? So it's not just about the inputs, it's about the outputs. Learning Gain is showing that there isn't a single metric that we can come out with and sort of say, I learned 7 qubits of knowledge and you learned 9 qubits of knowledge in your time in higher education. I think some policymakers hoped it would be that simple, but what we've realized is actually what students gain from their time in higher education is very complex. Well, I think some countries are a bit more advanced in some ways. I think one of the strengths of the German system is understanding there's quite different types of outputs across the different elements of the tertiary higher education sector. And I think that's one of the challenges the UK has of kind of chasing a single metric across the huge diversity of institutional types. Well, I think one of the strengths of the Scottish system is the diversity of the different types of institutions, but how can they get together and actually speak about, well, what is unique about Scottish higher education, and how can that start to be reflected in metrics? I think there's been a lot of discussion about how it's different from other parts of the UK, but how do you start to quantify that and bring it out so that that's something that students can actually relate to themselves? Well, I think what we find is there's a lot of amazing practice happening within institutions, and these types of events are great for networking and finding out that actually a lot of the problems that seem entrenched within one institution are happening all across the sector in a huge variety of ways, and you can get really good solutions from what other institutions are trying. Also helps build up some of that support for what you're trying to do within your own context.